See, madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
They talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness. They talking.
All right, so now it is time to bring in our special guest for this week, the founder of Glory Pro Wrestling, a very accomplished veteran in the business, Big Mike, Michael Elgin. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. Yourself?
We're doing good over here. We're very excited to have you on the show. I guess not only a guest. In a way, I guess we can consider ourselves partners. We're sponsoring your upcoming Glory Pro show. What date was that again?
This Sunday, July 9th.
So July 9th, big event. It is in Illinois. It's is it Bellevue, Illinois?
Belleville, right at
Belleville.
Maybe 20 minutes outside of St. Louis.
Okay. So you're close to the St. Louis area.
Yes.
All right, so we're all the way from Philadelphia. My geography of the Midwest is not the greatest. Yeah, I wish we'd be able to go to this show. It's a little bit of a hike for us, but we're excited to be a part of it. We're excited to help in any way we can to see a lot of other wrestlers get jobs, new shows get promoted and produced. So it's really a pleasure for us to be involved with it. The first question that I want to ask you, the question I'd ask everybody. Now, from what I read, you started very young, at age 14 in the world of wrestling. Is that correct?
Yes, I started my training at 14.
So what was it that made you want to get involved in this world of pro wrestling?
Really, I can't remember a time that I didn't love pro wrestling. You know, growing up, I was the youngest in my family and got all the hand-me-down videotapes and all that stuff, and just I never grew out of it. I just happened to stumble upon a flyer at a live WWE show in Toronto. They offered a 2-week summer camp for ages 14 and up to be a pro wrestler, and I went there and then joined that school for a couple years and then found a better school in Toronto when I was 16.
Wow, so that's awesome. They were actually promoting that you could start at 14.
Yeah, but obviously I didn't know then, but anywhere that's going to train you at 14 probably isn't the best place to go.
I guess that makes sense. They're just trying to get any student they can. How long did you say you were there at that original school?
I was there about a year and a half, and then I found a better school in Toronto.
So, obviously, it didn't take too long for you to find a better school. Is there anything you learned in the first school that you still take with you today?
I mean, I learned how to bump. That's about it.
I guess that's an important thing to take with you. That's one of the most important things you need to be able to do.
Yeah, you know, ultimately, like, in a weird way, I was almost self-taught because there was a lot of, even at both schools, it was going in early and staying late and kind of figuring out things for myself from watching tapes. Like, when I started, you know, we were following the Attitude Era, so everybody that started around the time I did, you know, their favorite wrestlers were The Rock and Stone Cold. They didn't really know about the indies. And I'd watched wrestling all my life, so I grew up watching guys, you know, like the British Bulldogs and Ricky Steamboat and all those guys that kind of had a more athletic style. And then I started watching indies very young, as well as Japanese wrestling. So a lot of it was kind of self-taught, you know. Of course, I was taught, you know, how to lock up, how to bump and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of like the things that I've become and the moves that I do and the strikes and everything were kind of self-taught.
Wow, so that's incredible. So a lot of this was just stuff you kind of learned on your own and kind of picked up how to do it. Was a lot of it just natural, or was it more you just put in an immense amount of effort to be able to teach yourself these things?
You know, it was a little bit of both. Like, because I'd watched wrestling for so long, a lot of things that I was taught, like the lockups and the bumps and basic moves like a hip toss and body slam and stuff, it came very natural. I didn't need many tries at those just because I'd watched wrestling, so I kind of had in my head how to do it. Obviously, I need instruction how to do it properly, but it definitely didn't take long to do those type of things.
Yeah, so you already mentioned some of your influences, Ricky Steamboat, the Bulldogs. Are there any guys that you're kind of still learning from now, whether they're guys in WWE, guys you're working with all over the world? Is there anyone who's still influencing what you do now?
Yeah, of course. You know, I still watch a ton of tape, and I try to go back and take some guys I look up to and guys that, people say I remind them of, like a Dr. Dusty Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Hansen are my favorites, like Ken Sabashi and Shawn Michaels. I watch a lot of tape still. I do an hour of cardio every morning, and I'll either watch the DVD if I'm doing cardio at my house, or if I'm at the gym, I'll pull something up on YouTube and watch something.
Are there ever times that there's something new you add to your arsenal that you didn't know you had in you? Or are you kind of confident enough to know, if I want to try this, I'm going to be able to pull it off?
Yeah, like I don't ever try to go too much out of my realm of what I can physically do.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been very weird. Like, I remember I used to do, like, the twisting tope.
Yeah.
Kind of go over sideways, do a 360.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time I did it, I called it in the match, and people were like, have you done that before? I'm like, and I've never done it before. I was just confident I could do it. So the things that I end up trying or adding to my moveset are stuff I'm pretty confident that I can do, and luckily, it hasn't bit me in the butt yet.
So it's kind of like you know who you are, you know what you're capable of, and I guess that's an important part of pro wrestling is just knowing who you are, because character work is a lot of it, and I think that may be the hardest thing to learn how to do, is know who you are when you're out there. Is that something that took time for you to learn because you watched so much wrestling? Did you kind of have an idea of who you were before you even started?
Yes and no. Like, it took me a while. When I was 19, I had knee surgery, and I had a couple months off, and that's when I really changed to start to become who I am today. Before I just kind of did stuff and do stuff, and when I had some time off, I really formulated what I wanted to be, because I watched a lot of Ken Sabashi, Stan Hansen, Dr. Dusty Williams, and actually, like, the Austin 316 videotape I've watched religiously just because of his aura. His aura was very, like, it wasn't an over-the-top gimmick. It was just kind of that aura of, you knew when he was coming out, he was going to beat somebody up. So that's kind of what I wanted it to be.
So having an idea of what you wanted to do, obviously, as I said at the top of the interview, you're very accomplished. You've won world titles, you've won intercontinental titles, you've won tag titles all over the world. What was it like for you to be a part of the first live New Japan broadcast in the United States?
Man, it was incredible. New Japan has been so amazing to be a part of, and the fact that they came to the States and it was live on TV, and just how great both shows came off. I mean, it was incredible to be part of something so historic.
Yeah, what I was struck by most is, our podcast is typically very WWE heavy, so I don't get as much time to watch outside of WWE as I'd like. I've tried to pick that up recently in the last couple months, but watching that show, it actually felt really significant and really important, and I don't feel that as often when I'm watching even a WWE pay-per-view anymore, because there's so much of it. But it was really cool to watch something and I'm like, this is a big event here, this means something, and that the energy in the crowd, and I even feel like it came across on TV with the talent in the ring, that you guys knew how special this was.
Yeah, we definitely did. If we want to continue to run stateside and be and really these things in the U.S. market, just like they are in Japan, then we have to bring our A game every time we come out.
Yeah, I thought everyone did from top to bottom. Your match in particular, I heard, pretty much almost universally that people felt that your match with Kenny Omega was the match of the night. I know I felt that way. I thought it was incredible. Hard hitting, put on a great show. What is the response that you've received personally, specifically about your match with Kenny Omega on Saturday night?
Yeah, luckily it seems like fans and company were happy with it, so that's always a plus. When you're in the ring with somebody like Kenny, it's hard to have a bad match. And I think for the style that we all represent in New Japan, I kind of found my calling, just because that's always been kind of the style that I wrestle. So with other guys who compete with that New Japan style, I think it's much easier to perform big matches with.
Now, you just said that fits your style so well. Is that something you knew before you ever were even involved in New Japan? Like, I belong there, I fit in there, or did you learn that upon actually finally getting to do it?
Well, I never thought that I belonged there, but I definitely felt that if I got the opportunity to perform for New Japan, that I would fit in. And luckily, in 2015, I did the G1, and I did fit in, and they offered me a contract. So it was one of those things where I just felt that my style would adapt well to them.
Hey, Mike, last December, you left Ring of Honor and signed with New Japan. What were some of the differences between you and Ring of Honor that made you two part ways?
Really, man, it was just the communication. I was sick of just asking about details or this show coming up after I was told that I'd be on every show when I was stateside. And it was just poor communication, so I didn't want to deal with it anymore and moved on. It's been working out great.
Another question, and I mentioned also that the fact that I'm trying to get into the indies more, because WWE, you kind of know what you're getting. It's such an oversaturated market at this point. They're asking so much of us as fans of WWE. Like, you have to watch it sometimes Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Part of what I'm enjoying about the indies is there's a better energy from the fans. If you're on social media, there's more of a positive reaction that you're getting on an independent show than you are to WWE. I feel like a more positive reaction in the stands. And there's just a freedom and an energy there that is missing from WWE. So the question I'm getting to is, people always talk about the next WWE boom. Like, when will it happen? Will it ever happen? And I look at the indies, there's so much talent there. There's so many good shows being put on all over the place on a weekly basis. Do you think that maybe the next wrestling boom is the independent scene right now?
I definitely think so, and I think that's actually thanks to WWE. I think when they started using guys like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, and they referenced, New Japan, and they referenced the indies like Ring of Honor and PWG. I think that's really helped grow the indies, I think when the network came out, they were talking about buying up indies and just everything for only $10, and people were afraid the indies were going to suffer. And I think it's helped more than ever, because you get these in-depth stories from wrestlers talking about their time on the independents, and then fans look like, oh, geez, if these guys are this good, what's left on the indies now? Let's see how good they are. And then they watch a show, and they're blown away by the athleticism and the styles that are represented on the companies that you hear people talking about, and then they start to become indie fans. So I think that right now the indies are booming. I mean, we went into a building just with Glory Pro at the beginning of the year where they're used to draw 250, and we're drawing 350 consistently, which is capacity.
Yeah.
And we have 500 people for our new venue this Sunday. So it's incredible how good the indies are doing. This area has not, over the years, done very good drawing. Top crowds would be 250, and we've been drawing consistent 350, and now we're moving into a show and still got a couple days ahead of time, and probably be lost up when we got 500 people sold. So the indies are definitely booming.
Wow, so you're already seeing growth within Glory Pro itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's incredible. So, that's very encouraging to hear, and I actually appreciate what you just said, that because one of the things I thought was I almost felt resentful towards WWE that they're buying up all the indie talent, and it's like, I feel like, are you just trying to pick them clean? But I never thought of it from that perspective, that they're shining a light on all these promotions, and people see, a guy like AJ Styles come in who they may not have seen, and they're like, oh, well, where was this guy before? Or, as you said, a Seth Rollins. So that is interesting that you're kind of seeing a benefit from WWE giving a lot of these guys a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've heard better than they have been. I do an AEW out in Chicago, and they're drawing tremendously. And I've been with them since 2012, and these are the biggest houses they've ever had. PWG consistently sells out. All the indies that I'm taking part in are having record crowds, since mid last year when all this started happening with all the guys. And it's incredible to think of how much the growth has been on the indies. Like, as I said, just alone, I'm finding out with Glory Pro that if you have a good show and are promoting it and people are hearing about the talent that's on the indies, you can draw massive crowds. I mean, as I said, we're in a building that's never seen more than 260, and now we're drawing 350. And in this new building, I know the last show that ran there had like 50 people. Festival, and that was 3 years ago, and now we've already sold 500 tickets, so the growth is incredible.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that for you guys. Oh, Aaron, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, when the show first started, Ron mentioned that we're always down for local promotions and wrestlers creating their own visions for the fans. What were some inspirations for you to start Glory Pro Wrestling?
Well, I have a school out here in St. Louis, and they didn't have the best shows in the area to perform on. And it's always nice to kind of have that promotion to go with your school to kind of give your students, like, a goal, you know. Well, my goal is to train hard in class and hit the gym and get in better shape so that I can be part of said promotion. So I had some time off with the injury I had late last year and could put everything into motion between finding a building, naming the company, getting banners, and getting talent booked for shows coming up and everything. So really that was inspiration.
Also, on our network, we have a series called Throwback Madness, and when we do that, we go back in time from the month we're in, and we review the old pay-per-view. So recently, we did an ECW show, and we talked about the differences between an ECW and a WWE show. At the time, the ECW, they always gave the fans what they wanted. And with us being based out of Philadelphia, we have Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore promotion. And the one thing he does is try to embrace that ECW culture. Is there a special culture or vibe you want to adopt for Glory Pro Wrestling?
Yeah, you know, St. Louis is such a rich history of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
With the great promoters in the St. Louis area, you hear about the great shows. And guys like Ric Flair coming here and defending the world title, and Harley Race, and Bruiser Brody, you know, wrestling at the Chase. It always comes up when people talk about classic wrestling. So we're really trying to adopt that the classic wrestling feel, but with the new age wrestling. You know, the best way I like to say is we're trying to mix like the old school NWA with the new school New Japan / Ring of Honor in-ring style, so that fans are getting both things. You know, like wins matter. The referees have actual control, and we're not insulting the fans.
My favorite thing. My favorite.
Yeah, what a concept.
Yes.
Yeah, like
logic.
Come on, you know, fans have been talking to us saying, you know, this has a different feel about it. It feels like wins matter because of how championships are defended against people, and who gets the title matches are people that won a certain amount of matches, or people who won a match that the contendership was in for, not just like, oh, we're bringing in so-and-so, they're going to get a title match. Obviously, that happens once in a while for an angle purposes, but it helps further an angle more so than just bringing somebody in. Because I know, personally, you know, I'll be booked on a show, you know, in February, and I'm wrestling their champion, and then I come back in September and they have a new champion, I'm wrestling that champion again. The last time I was there, I lost anyway. And not that that's a bad thing to do. Of course, you want your champion to look good and everything, but we're just trying to make everything seem important. A win seem important, a loss seem important, everything. So that's all.
So obviously, I'd assume running your own promotion is a pretty big undertaking. What is it like trying to juggle that responsibility with your actual career that you're still very much involved in?
You know, it's surprisingly easy. You know, I'm very coordinated, so I try to have everything in order well in advance, which I've found, you know, some people don't, but that happens. You know, it's been easy. You know, especially because you have so much easy access to Twitter or YouTube or email on your phone that no matter where I am, I can kind of communicate with everybody.
Now, did starting your own promotion actually maybe give like a little bit of a jolt to you in your career, like kind of a new inspiration to try to get even better?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I want to be the best I can be because my matches, you know, I'm trying to influence people to come to the show with a match like me against Cody Rhodes, but then when they come, they get hooked on the talent that I'm using that maybe they haven't seen before, and then they want to come back no matter who's on the show.
Yeah, see, and that is brilliant, because I had never had that thought before, and I went to my first House of Hardcore show in Philadelphia almost, I guess it was a year and a half ago, and the first person that really stood out to me was Tony Nese, who I had never heard of, had never seen him before. And he just jumped out at me. I said, this guy is incredible. I hope I see more from him. And now we see him in WWE as part of the cruiserweight division. So you're right. You could have somebody at the top of the card that's going to draw you in, and then you see something you never saw before that's going to keep you coming back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Ron just hit on something. My next question. He just mentioned Tony Nese, how he popped at him. So my favorite thing about these promotions is being exposed to new wrestlers who we may not have heard of yet, and they could quickly draw us into them and make us a fan instantly. Who are some wrestlers on your roster that we should look out for?
Man, seriously, and this is obviously something that most promoters would say, but I think the whole roster is people that you got to look out for, because that's what I've been doing. I don't allow just any student on the show. They have to be working on getting in better shape. They have to be working on their in-ring style. And then all the guys that I use that aren't from my school are people I've come across on my travels that I look at them and watch their work and think, why are they not on a bigger platform? So I bring them in because I think they should be on a bigger platform. So everybody's been doing really good, to be honest.
So you obviously have your own students, and like you said, you're not just throwing anybody on the card. But then even in your travels, you're finding new guys and saying, you know what? I want to give this guy a chance. Is there anything specific you look for in a talent that makes you want to bring them in? Or could it be any number of things?
Well, first, I think, do they look like a wrestler? Mm-hmm. And then secondly, hear the crowd reaction from their match and watch their match and see, what they do that's different from everybody else on the card. Because if you stand out with your match being totally different than everybody else's, then you bring something different to the table. And if you bring something different to the table than anybody else I have on the roster, then you stand out and makes every match different. So that's big to me.
Now, you mentioned we hear this a lot. Someone looking like a wrestler. What does that look mean to you? Because some people think it just means you're 7 feet tall and shredded or whatever, but it could mean a lot of different things to different people.
If you look like you're at least hit the gym, that's all I care about. You don't have to be super tall. You don't have to be 250 pounds shredded. As long as you look like you could be an athlete, and athletes come in different sizes, shapes, and everything. There's runners that are athletes, there's swimmers that are athletes, there's football players that are athletes, basketball players that are athletes, baseball players. There's a ton of different athletic looks, and as long as you look like a wrestler and your gear looks professional, that's what I look for.
Okay. Now, you obviously are very heavily involved in the Midwest of the United States right now, and your formative years, I assume, mostly took part in Canada. Is there a similarity in the wrestling culture between Canada and the Midwest? Do you think that it's different? Is there one that you prefer over the other, or it's kind of all great?
They're similar, but there's always going to be differences. I think with my helping with the Midwest, my students and people who come to my camps are getting a little bit more of the Canadian style of wrestling. There's a little bit of difference in style just because of the training. But they're very similar, a lot of the same mentality and everything. So
another thing that I'm always curious about, how much of an eye do you keep on WWE at this point in your career? Is it something that you find entertaining? Is it something you still want to watch? Or are you just so focused on what you have going on that WWE has kind of fallen off the radar?
I mean, I try to catch up with it when I can. I don't do cable, so I don't watch the weekly shows. And if there's a match that I seem interested in on a pay-per-view, I'll try to watch it. If I'm home on a Sunday and it's on, I'll probably watch it. And if not, I'll try to catch up on it when I'm doing cardio. It just depends on what other wrestling I have to watch.
So, yes, cutting the cable, you're a smarter man than I, because I'm still stuck with cable, and I don't know why sometimes. One thing that was kind of a big story a couple weeks ago was the Wrestle Circus promotion that streamed live on that website, Twitch TV. I thought it was a great thing because it opened up a smaller show to a much larger possible audience. I know that there was the ability to tip the talent that was on the show. Have you heard about this or no?
Yeah, they're just looking for different avenues, which I appreciate. It's always fun it's always fun to try to see new ways to get eyes on a product, which is good. And, I commend them for finding something new.
Yeah, I think it was a great idea. I got super excited for it when I saw it. Is that something you think you'd ever try with Glory Pro? Is that something you'd be interested in pursuing at some point?
No, it's hard because DVD sales are help companies grow, especially producing good shows. So I try to make sure that everybody's kind of the company's seeing the benefits of releasing DVDs and everything. So it'll be hard to stream it for free because, whether people want to pay for the show and tip the show, not per se the wrestlers, like, you just never know. You never know if that's going to come out well, when you can make $350 a month on a DVD or something. So
right. So as fans of wrestling, what are the best ways that guys like us can support independent wrestling? Like, what would you say to somebody who asked you that question?
Man, a lifeline is purchasing a DVD or streaming. Those help so much.
So that's the biggest. So that's another thing I never really thought of. I mean, I know they sell DVDs all the time, but I never really considered that. I thought, I'd buy my ticket, but that actually kind of gives me a push to, if I go to a show, I might want to buy the DVD as well, because you guys are out there killing yourselves to entertain us. So why not do everything we can to support you guys?
Yeah, for sure. Especially if it's a card. Let's say to a fan that was interested in a me against Cody or a Dijak against Marufuji match. It's $10, I think, to buy it as an MP4 from Smart Mark Video. Mm-hmm. And you could buy that if you live, where you guys are in Philly but can't make it to the show. That helps out and support just as much as anything else.
Now, how far from your home base will you take Glory Pro shows? Or is it always pretty much in the same area?
For now, it's going to be in the same area. You don't want to grow too quickly, or that's when you start losing money.
So you're not trying to do what WCW tried to do back in the 90s. They overextended themselves, and they paid the price for it. So the last thing, I want you to really sell any of our listeners. Oh, Aaron,
I have one more thing for you, Mike. What's the ultimate goal for Glory Pro Wrestling?
The main goal is to be a top promotion in the United States, and I hope that when companies like a PWG or Ring of Honor evolve or missing talent because guys are getting signed to WWE or moving on to something else, that they look at Glory Pro to find those guys to fill those voids.
And you see that happening. I mean, I have every confidence in the world. You're clearly passionate about this. You're clearly doing everything you can to see it grow. So you do see this in the future. This is not a hope. This is kind of, this is going to happen.
Yeah, I really think so. I think we're getting a lot of eyes on the product, and everybody's been performing so well that I think for sure that when guys need talent, they're going to look at us and see who's doing well.
Yeah, well, that's great. So now, any of our listeners who aren't familiar with Glory Pro, who maybe are just hearing about this show on Sunday for the first time, we do have some listeners in Illinois, so there may be somebody within driving distance. So sell them on this Glory Pro show on Sunday the 9th.
Well, it's myself against Cody Rhodes. We got A.R. Fox coming in. We got Martin Stone, who wrestles as Danny Burch on the WWE Network, who's in the UK tournament and been on NXT the last few weeks. We have Marufuji from Pro Wrestling Noah wrestling Donovan Dijak. And, man, the undercard, if you go to our YouTube page and check out some of the packages that we've done for the big matches that are coming ahead this Sunday, I think people are going to be very invested in the local talent just as much as the names we're bringing in.
That's great. So it sounds like kind of a who's who on this card. Obviously, Cody Rhodes, a huge name, a lot of attention right now. Donovan Dijak as well. Yourself as well. Like I said, you just had a very well-received match on a very big show that was trending #1 on Twitter, I believe, in North America on Saturday night. Mike, it really has been a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, thank you, Mike.
We wish you all the best with Glory Pro in the future. We look forward to a very long and fruitful partnership with you. Hopefully we can make our way out to the Midwest one day and come to a show. But until then, again, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, Mike, you take care. You have a great night, and good luck on Sunday.
Good luck Sunday, Mike.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. You too.
Talking all of this madness. They talking all of they. Hop on the top rope, about to land with this elbow. Got him down, put him down right now. Hit him with the palm handle. Tuning up the band, y'all don't understand. Fist of Superman, it's a summer slam. Here we go again. Fans marking man, I hate my balls. Shut the Vince McMahon, it ain't shake the land off the cell. Fans love it, ain't hard to tell. Talking madness, awesome. Well, what I'm cooking, man, y'all off the smell.